What is happening, everybody? On today's show, the brackets are set. We'll run through the matchups for each SEC team and how things fell in the eyes of the selection committee. Also, congrats to the Tennessee Volunteers winning their first SEC tournament championship since 1979. We had some big news drop on Saturday as LSU fired their head coach, Will Wade. And then on Sunday, news drops that Florida coach Mike White leaving for the Georgia job. Tons to discuss here, guys. Locked on SEC starts right now.
You are Locked On SEC, your daily podcast on the Southeastern Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is happening, everybody? Welcome into Locked On SEC. It's great to have you guys along. Today's episode is brought to you by RunYourPool. March Madness is here, and RunYourPool has a better way to create your bracket. RunYourPool.com, the premier sports pool hosting service. I'm Chris Gordy. Thanks for making Locked On SEC your first listen every day. Remember, Locked On SEC is free and available on all platforms, including YouTube and at LockedOnSEC.com. All right, we got tons to get into. Let's first start with the Tennessee Volunteers making history, 43 years of trying, and Tennessee men's basketball finally hoisted the SEC Tournament Championship trophy with a 65-50 win over Texas A&M over the weekend. Santiago Vescovi had 17 points. Kennedy Chandler had 14 and 7 assists. And Josiah Jordan-James had a double-double with 16 points and 10 rebounds. And A&M, nice run for them, but they come up short. And Tennessee, with their first championship in the conference tournament since 1979, A&M, they did get 13 points from Tyrese Radford, but the Vols, they started the day on a 14-0 run, and they took care of business. Tennessee led 29-20 at halftime after that up-and-down first half, and it was a nice run for Tennessee. It was the 13th all-time SEC tournament title game for the Vols, 7 appearances coming back in like the 30s and 40s, but Tennessee, they beat Kentucky back in 1979. So, look, it's been a while, and it was a great win for the Vols. Tennessee freshman guard Kennedy Chandler was named the SEC tournament's most outstanding player. Two other his teammates, Vescovi and Josiah Jordan-James, were named to the SEC all-tournament team on Sunday. So congrats to those guys, and congrats to Rick Barnes. It was an interesting tournament. It was one where I predicted Auburn to win. A lot of people like Kentucky winning it. And, I don't know, a lot of folks outside of Knoxville that were saying, oh, Tennessee's going to run through this and win this. So congrats to the Vols as they take care of business. All right, let's jump into it because the brackets are set. And I don't want to waste any time because we got the coaching changes to get into in segment 2 and 3. So let's get into it with the bracket shakedown. In the West, we get 4-seed Arkansas. They get 13-seed Vermont. I like that for Arkansas. I think they should take care of business against Vermont. After that, they get the winner of UConn, New Mexico State. UConn's a very scary team. That's one that if you're Arkansas, you got to be looking at and saying, we got to take care of our business. So that's one that don't necessarily like that for Arkansas, but Arkansas gets the 4-seed as we kind of, expected here in recent weeks. But Arkansas did help increase their seeding. Remember, just a couple weeks ago before they got hot, but they were more than 5-6 seed territory. So good for them. Speaking of 6 seed, Alabama gets the 6 seed in the West. They will play the 11 seed, the play-in game. So they're going to get the winner of Rutgers Notre Dame. Both those teams are dangerous teams. If Bama can get past Rutgers or Notre Dame, whoever wins the play-in game, they're likely going to get 3-seed Texas Tech in the second round, who's a really tough team. So we talked about this all year with Alabama and Nate Oates. At times, they can play with anybody and beat anybody in the country. We've seen that. They beat Gonzaga. They beat Baylor. They have some of the best wins in the country. They also have some of the worst losses. What Alabama team shows up? Look, if it's Alabama Notre Dame, I think that one's a little bit more scary than if it's Alabama Rutgers. So let's see who wins this play-in game. But, Texas Tech in the second round, that would be a tough one. In the South, Tennessee gets a 3-seed. The SEC championship tournament champ, the Tennessee Vols are 3-seed. I know a lot of people were saying, why couldn't they get up to a 2? Thought they were deserving of a 2, but they're the 3-seed. They get 14-seed Longwood. Should not be a problem for them there. After that, they get the winner of Colorado State, Michigan. Michigan's not good this year. Colorado State's pretty good. I think they're a little overrated. And then possibly a date with Villanova in the Sweet 16. I like this draw for the Vols. I think Tennessee's got a chance to make a run here. And I think Sweet 16 is, at minimum, what we should be talking about for the Vols. In the Midwest, we get the 6 seed LSU Tigers without Will Wade. We'll get to that in a second. They will take on the 11 seed Iowa State. I think that's a tough matchup for LSU. If LSU wins, they would most likely get 3 seed Wisconsin in the second round. So I think LSU is either 1 and done or 0 and done. They play Iowa State and they exit quickly. But again, LSU is in the same boat as Alabama. Dangerous team with Tari Eason and Efton Reed and all these pieces that they have. They can beat anybody in any given night. But man, we saw in the SEC tournament against Arkansas that offense can go cold at times and they can go on long droughts where they can't score points. Good defensively, but I think LSU sees an early exit. Meanwhile, in the Midwest, also we have the 2 seed Auburn. They get the 15 seed Jacksonville State. Jabari Smith and company should have no problem taking care of them. After that, they get the winner of USC Miami in the second round. Both those teams, dangerous teams. I think Auburn, man, the upset radars are going to be going off, whether it's them against USC or Miami. They need to take care of business. One of the most talented teams in the country with Walker Kessler, Jabari Smith, J.D. Davison, all these different pieces they have, man. Bruce Pearl, we said a few weeks ago, it's Final Four bust. If Auburn does not get to the Final Four this year, it is a huge, massive disappointment. But I think that's a tough draw for them in the second round. In the East, 2 seed Kentucky, they get the 15 seed St. Peter's. I think that's fine for them. A nice draw for Kentucky. They likely get 30-2 Murray State in the second round, but I think Kentucky should be able to take care of them. Oscar Tshiebwe, nobody's going to have an answer for him throughout this tournament. And then it's possibly Purdue or Texas or Virginia Tech in the Sweet 16. I think Kentucky's going deep in this bracket. So go ahead and just pencil Kentucky in. I think Calipari's got this team ready. This is one of his best groups he's had in a while, and I think they're going on a deep run. The first 4 out, I was pretty shocked to see Texas A&M did not make it. I thought they did enough and showed enough in recent weeks with what they had done, the run through the tournament. I just think it was not fair to them when you consider that they rode a 7-game win streak before they fell short to Tennessee in the SEC title game. Buzz Williams had to play their best basketball for the past month, 8-2 of their last 10, wins over Bama, Auburn, and Arkansas. It's disappointing. And what's even more disappointing is they're in the first 4 out, but they're the 4th replacement team. So that means if somebody had to exit the tournament for whatever reason, Dayton would be the first replacement, followed by Oklahoma, followed by SMU, and then A&M. So A&M's run in the SEC tournament not rewarded, and the Aggies are kept out of the NCAA tournament. I think it's a shame for A&M and Buzz Williams because they were playing some great basketball down the stretch, and unfortunately, an NIT bid, a high NIT bid in their future, but unfortunately not going to the NCAA tournament unless 4 teams suddenly drop out, which is not very likely. All right. Thank you guys again for making Locked On SEC your first listen every day. Coming up next, we'll get to the latest on the new openings in Gainesville and in Baton Rouge in basketball. We'll discuss that in just a second. But of course, need to remind you guys about our friends over at Run Your Pool. March Madness is here. That means you need to start figuring out what you're going to do with your bracket. And instead of going with the usual, you got to go check out RunYourPool.com. They got standard brackets, Survivor, all kinds of different things. They offer options to edit scoring. If you've got a business, Run Your Pool can help you take some of that madness magic and play alongside your employees or gain customers. White glove customer support, custom branding, one of the easiest 3-minute setups you're going to find. We believe in Run Your Pool because, like we said, we're running our brackets there ourselves. There's no truer test of that. If you want to play against us for a shot at a cash prize, we're giving you up to $1,800 is what you can win. Join us at runyourpool.com/lockedon. Runyourpool.com/lockedon. Go sign up there. Again, you'll have a chance at winning a cash prize against us up to $1,800 in your pocket. And while you're there, you can also create your own pool for your friends and family. Just enter Pure Madness at checkout for $10 off your custom pool. All the rules and details are available there. That's runyourpool.com/lockedon for your chance to win a cash prize up to $1,800. Look forward to seeing and beating you there. Also, look, Stat Hero is giving you a little bit of an alternative way. If you're not the traditional bracket person, you want to try something new, Stat Hero, they've got NCAA single game pick'ems, pitting the star players against each other in an amazing hybrid between fantasy and sports gambling. Take back that control from the handicappers that always have the advantage and start focusing on the players you know best with gameplay that doesn't rely on big spreads, long odds, or funky props. Stat Hero gives you the advantage, resulting in gamers winning 4 times more often because Stat Hero eliminates the mystery about who or what you're going up against. Go check them out, Stat Hero. It is the easiest and fastest way to get your sports action. The gameplay is simple, it's sleek. It is what daily fantasy was made to be. And when you sign up today, right now, at stathero.com/lockedon, use our promo code LOCKEDON. We'll get you a 100% deposit match. That's stathero.com/lockedon. Use our promo code LOCKEDON for a 100% match. stathero.com/lockedon. Promo code LOCKEDON. Terms and conditions apply. Continue on here, Locked On SEC, and thank you guys again for making us your first listen every day. Make sure to check out the Locked On Bracket Breakdown coming later on Monday. If you're listening to this Monday, later today, we will have right here on the Locked On SEC podcast feed and YouTube channel, you'll have me, Andy Patton, and betting expert Lee Sterling giving you in-depth breakdowns on every matchup. Check that out, the Locked On Bracket Breakdown. All right, look, just 48 hours removed from the Tom Crane firing, the Georgia Bulldogs have made a change with their coaching staff. Tom Crane fired. The Bulldogs have found their next man, and they look to be one of their rivals, Florida's Mike White. According to CBS Sports, Georgia's hiring Florida's Mike White as their next basketball coach. White is going to be tasked with a very difficult challenge, taking over a 6-26 program. Was not a very good era for Tom Crane in Athens. Georgia posted a 47-75 record under Tom Crane, including a 15-58 mark in SEC play. We should note, though, that Florida basketball has been in a bit of a rut since Mike White has been there. They've not been nearly as good as they were supposed to be. In his time in Gainesville, Mike White, 142-88. But Florida has not posted a 20-win season dating back to 2018. So Mike White going to have his work cut out for him in Athens, but it seems like the pressure will be off a little bit, right? Like the Bulldogs have lower expectations. They think it's a nice fit with a high character coach in Mike White. And, look, he was just never going to be Billy Donovan in Gainesville. He was never going to achieve that success. So now he gets to go to Athens. Look, if he can have them somewhat competitive, middle of the pack, some years competing for the SEC East, I think that's a step up compared to what we've had in recent years at Georgia. But a lot of folks saying this is a smart move for Mike White to find a landing spot before Athletic Director Scott Strickland was going to make a move. So Mike White gets a fresh start. But again, a relatively low pressure SEC job like Georgia. And again, not to take anything away from them. I understand Georgia fans have high expectations. You just want a championship in football, for Christ's sake. And so you want to see other success around your other sports. And you want to see basketball take it to new heights. But again, I don't know if a lot of people are going to be wowed by it. Is it the splash hire for fans in Athens? Probably not for a lot of people. And honestly, if you're like some Florida fans out there, you're singing hallelujah, because I think a lot of people are ready to move on from Mike White in Gainesville. And again, just looking at it on the surface, it looks like the writing was on the wall that they were going to probably try to make a move on him. So why not get while the getting is good and head on over to another job where you'll be able to start fresh. And Mike White, the new head coach of the Georgia Bulldogs. And so now, interesting part, we'll talk about LSU coming up here in just a second. But, man, we just had 2 major programs in football have head coaching positions open this offseason in LSU and Florida. And now here we are again in basketball, LSU and Florida with head coaching openings. It's crazy how quickly this thing has has transpired for both those programs. Two huge schools like LSU and Florida, and massive coaching openings in both football and basketball in the same offseason. All right, when we return, we are going to discuss the Will Wade debacle in Baton Rouge and what went down there. That is coming up next. Thank you guys again for making Locked On SEC your first listen every day. And again, it is that time of year as college basketball's tournament is upon us. For all the latest odds, contests, and player props, BetOnline.net is the number one source for all your sports betting needs and info. BetOnline, they remain your best spot for all your sports scores, podcasts, and news throughout the year. It's not just basketball. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sports wagering information needs, including live betting and your favorite Vegas casino games. Head to their website today. You can do so on your mobile device. Learn all about the trends and action going on out there. It is BetOnline. BetOnline, where the game starts. Make them your companion throughout this postseason run, because you are going to need all the information that they have to offer. BetOnline. All right, one more segment here. Wanted to get into the LSU Will Wade debacle. And man, we knew about the wiretap, right? We knew about all that from 2017, where Will Wade was recorded on a wiretap, making an alleged strong-ass offer to citing a strong-ass offer with Christian Dawkins, who was on an FBI wiretap, and there was an HBO documentary made about him and a bunch of other coaches and all this. LSU was hit with a notice of allegations this past week. The firing means that Will Wade, who was in his fifth season at LSU, will not coach LSU in this tournament run. And as we mentioned, the Tigers are a 6th seed. Their assistant coach, Kevin Nickelberry, is going to serve as interim coach in their game against Iowa State. This will mark the second time that Wade has been unable to coach LSU when he led them to the tournament. 2019, LSU won the SEC regular season, but Wade was suspended for the conference and NCAA tournaments after those reports revealed the federal wiretap. He finishes 108 and 54 at LSU. He was really good. Previously came from VCU, but nearly the entire tenure of Wade at LSU is just going to be mauled in all these things that came out. According to the notice of allegations, on Saturday, 11 violations were outlined, including 8 level 1 violations, 7 of those just with men's basketball. Now, the other one was football, and it sounds like LSU was pretty proactive with that. You know, there was the part where Odell Beckham was paying players after the national championship game on the field. They nipped that one in the bud pretty quickly. But these basketball allegations, if you go read them and read through some of the details, Will Wade's accused of 5 level 1 violations and 1 level 2 violation. And his associate head coach, Bill Armstrong, he's also accused of several violations. In the statement that LSU released, they also terminated Armstrong's contract as well. But when you read through some of the details, man, it's Will Wade paying money to recruits. And look, I know it's weird now because we're in the age of NIL. And it's like, well, what's the big deal? Who cares if you're paying players? It's legal now. Yeah, but the last couple of years, it wasn't. And they have different scenarios where a player that Will Wade paid to come to LSU, his fiance came back and tried to extort him, saying, you need to pay me some money to keep my mouth shut, and I'm trying to buy a car. You need to give me some money to put on a down payment. There was also another scenario where Will Wade was transferring money to a recruit's family using his wife's bank account. I think if we're going to have real talk here, we need to say what Will Wade did here was sloppy. This is messy. We all know, go back as far as the movie Blue Chips. Big-time recruits have gotten payments to go play at schools. That is a fact. That's one of the dirty, icky parts of collegiate sports for the last 30-plus years. But here's the deal. The good schools have bagmen and middlemen, and they cover their tracks. At Auburn, it wasn't Bruce Pearl standing in a hotel lobby with a duffel bag full of cash. It was his assistants. It was guys in between him. Will Wade should not be the guy texting recruits and recruit families and all this with money offers. It's supposed to be middlemen. It's supposed to be guys in between. Like that or not, the dirty side of college athletics, that's how it should have went down. Now, Will Wade was foolish. He put himself in it. It got messy. And frankly, he deserved what he got. I think he was a good coach at LSU, a good X's and O's coach, a good recruiter. I think even outside of the players he paid. In this age of NIL, Will Wade can thrive in this era. Now that it's legal, he can get sponsors to pay for these students, and it'll all be 100% completely legal now. But unfortunately, he won't be doing it at LSU. And so now LSU turns their sights to their next head coaching search, as does the Florida Gators. And where do these two pretty big time programs, at least LSU historically, when you think back to Shaq, Pete Maravich, Bob Pettit, a lot of Final Four runs under Dale Brown and deep tournament runs. John Brady took them to a Final Four in 06. They've had postseason success, but not so much in recent years. Meanwhile, Florida, the two national championship runs with Billy Donovan, they've had success more recently. Two big-time programs that can attract big-name coaches. The problem with LSU's makes it a little bit maybe less attractive than Florida is what are going to be the sanctions and the punishments coming down from this Will Wade debacle in Baton Rouge. Are they going to be hit with big-time punishments? And, does that include a postseason ban? Does that include loss of scholarships? We will see in the coming weeks. But that may scare off some of the big names. We know that Scott Woodward, LSU's athletic director, likes to go big game hunting, and he's hit some big ones since he's taken over at LSU, even at A&M. He brought in Buzz Williams. He brought in Jimbo Fisher. At Washington, he hired Chris Peterson. At LSU, since he's been there, he's brought in Kim Mulkey, who's turned around their women's basketball program. Jay Johnson on the baseball front. Brian Kelly on the football front. And now the fourth big one, he gets to hire a replacement for Will Wade. But what are the stipulations going to be if there are punishments and sanctions facing the basketball program that could limit him? So, again, two fascinating coaching searches that we will continue to track in the coming weeks and see who hires or who Florida hires, who LSU hires. By the way, we didn't mention Quanzo Martin out at Missouri. Who's Missouri going to hire? Another one that's a once proud school that considers himself a basketball school that's very much underachieved since they've come into the SEC. Yet another big-time program on the hunt for a big name. And the SEC's got some great big names across college basketball, across the SEC. Got a feeling they're going to go hit a splash, and we're going to have some even bigger names coming into the likes of Missouri, Florida, and LSU. We'll continue to track that in the coming weeks. I'm Chris Gordy. Thanks again for making Locked On SEC your first listen every day. Now go make your second listen. Check out the Locked On NFL Draft podcast with Ryan Tracy and former NFL cornerback Eric Crocker, and bringing the NFL Draft to life every day with insightful analysis on college football prospects and NFL front offices. Free and available wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Chris Gordy. Thanks again for listening to Locked On SEC. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow.